Hey there, Ospreys. Welcome to another School of Communication update with CommConnect. I'm Joshua Rigdon.
And I'm Austin Maida, here to bring you up to date on what's going on this week. This week's a very special one for the School of Communication.
Indeed, it's the week we've all been waiting for, Media Week. Hey there, Ospreys. Welcome to this live on location edition of International Insider from outside the Herbert University Center. I'm Joshua Rigdon, here to give you the inside scoop on Inside Swoop. First up, Total Energies Group in France faces continuing strikes Friday that are disrupting fuel supplies. This comes after left-wing CGT union rejected a deal over a pay increase that two other unions had agreed to. The CGT are holding out for 10% pay rise, while both the CFDT and CFE CGC unions, which together represent a majority of the group's French workers, agreed overnight to a 7% pay rise and a financial bonus. Next up, Friday, three Swedish center-right parties agreed to form a coalition government with the support of the Swedish Democrats, a once radical far-right group that has moved toward the mainstream but retains a hard line on immigration. This follows elections on September the 11th that gave the Sweden Democrats an unprecedented position of influence in Swedish politics with over 20% of the vote. The agreement came after 1 month of talks following the election. Lastly, on Friday, homes were flooded in Melbourne and other cities in Australia's southeast, with rivers forecast to remain dangerously high for days. Authorities said that about 70% of residents were told to leave in suburb in Melbourne's northwest. The Bureau of Meteorology said major to record-breaking flooding was occurring or was forecast to occur on many rivers in Victoria and the island state south of Tasmania. Well, Ospreys, that's it for this live on location edition of International Insider on Inside Swoop in 90. I'm Joshua Rigdon, and we'll see you next time. Hello, Ospreys. Welcome to another edition of International Insider on Inside Swoop in 90. I'm Joshua Rigdon, here to give you the inside scoop on Inside Swoop. First up, according to the AP, after an explosion went off near a mosque in Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan, killing at least 4 and wounding another 10. The blast occurred in the city's diplomatic quarter, with shots ringing out several minutes after the explosion, an explosion that left a black smoke column rising into the city. This is not the first time this mosque has been attacked, as a blast had previously rocked it in 2020. Next up, as we reported yesterday, violent clashes between Iranian security forces and protesters that started over the weekend have continued into Friday. According to the AP, Iranian state TV has suggested that the death toll from the unrest might be as high as 26, but they did not offer any details. This is the largest amount of unrest in Iran since 2019, where hundreds of people were killed in a violent crackdown. Lastly, according to the AP, in what Denmark's government calls a significantly reduced level than before the coronavirus, a temporary ban on mink breeding will expire January 1st, allowing mink production to resume. This occurs 2 years after the government ordered a cull of millions of minks in an attempt to minimize the risk that they would retransmit the virus. Denmark banned mink farming in November 2020 to contain a mutated version of the coronavirus that could spread to people. Well, Ospreys, that's it for this edition of International Insider on Inside Swoop in 90. I'm Joshua Rigdon, and we'll see you next time. Hello, Ospreys. Welcome to another edition of Afternoon Scoop on Inside Swoop in 90. I'm Joshua Rigdon, here to give you the Inside Scoop on Inside Swoop. First, in the lead up to the midterm elections, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is promoting administration policies as the key to advancing the nation's, quote, long-term economic well-being. Yellen and other administration officials are touring the U.S. as they try to quell the impact of persistent high inflation. Price increases are a top concern for voters with the midterms looming. Early voting has begun in some states already. Next up, on Friday, a Mississippi community announced plans to unveil a larger-than-life statue of Emmett Till. This community also has an elaborate Confederate statue. The statue of Till comes decades after white men kidnapped and killed the black teenager for allegedly whistling at a white woman in a country store. Till will be depicted in slacks, a dress shirt, and a tie with one hand on the brim of his hat. That bronze statue will stand 9 feet, which is also 2.7 meters tall. Finally, in what could be a landmark case, the widow of a former University of Southern California football player is suing the NCAA for failing to protect her husband from repetitive head trauma. The case heads to a Los Angeles jury Friday. According to the wrongful death lawsuit, Matthew G. died in 2018 from permanent brain damage caused by countless blows to the head he took while playing linebacker. The NCAA said it wasn't responsible for his death, which it blamed on heavy drinking, drugs, and other health problems. Well, Ospreys, that's it for this edition of Afternoon Scoop on Inside Swoop in 90. I'm Joshua Rigdon. I'll see you next time. Jags end their 5-game losing streak to the Las Vegas Raiders 27-20. Now, Travis Etienne looks like a bell cow back, with Doug Peterson commenting how he's still young and he's still learning how to run in the NFL.
I mean, we know obviously that he's going to be the guy. So we just gotta continue to find ways to get him touches in this game and really every game moving forward. using him in situations to be successful. He made some tough runs in the second half. He's still learning. That's the thing that I'm excited. He's still learning how to run the football, and where to run it sometimes. But he's got so much talent that you hate for him to come off the field, especially in moments of crunch time.
Peterson also commented on how the team was able to slow down Devontae Adams in the second half.
First half, obviously he had some big plays there, and we just regrouped really at halftime. I don't think there were a ton of changes. Quite frankly, the guys were in position in the second half, and that's part of what we're trying to teach these guys here, and how to win and to stay within themselves.
Trevor Lawrence also mentioned how the team stayed within itself while down 17-0 to come back to win 27-20.
Every phase played a part, and I think that's what makes it great too. It's not like, the offense or the defense had to carry us for this one. It was just everybody playing together. Nobody panicked when we got in that hole early, and it feels good to win one.
Next, we'll move on to play Kansas City Chiefs next week in one of the toughest environments to play. Back to you guys in the studio. On that note, there are some important dates for this month for those of you planning to register for spring classes. On November 4th, the registration time ticket's posted, along with the official spring 2023 schedule. Make sure to take a look before November 14th because that's when registration opens by time ticket. It's not too late to meet with your advisor and plan ahead for the classes you want to take. Check out the CommConnect newsletter to find the emails for communication advisors. Hello, Ospreys. Welcome to this on-location edition of the Sunshine segment. I'm Joshua Rigdon, here to bring you the Inside Scoop and Inside Swoop. First up, Thursday, the Florida lawmaker who sponsored the controversial law critics call Don't Say Gay resigned. This comes one day after authorities announced his indictment on charges of defrauding a federal coronavirus loan program for small businesses. Representative Joe Harding sent a resignation letter to House Speaker Paul Renner, saying he needs to focus on his upcoming trial. The trial is scheduled to begin January 11th. Next up, Thursday, SpaceX launched internet satellites for a competitor. SpaceX stepped in to help the London-based OneWeb after the company halted its flights with Russia over the invasion of Ukraine. The Falcon rocket blasted off with 40 mini satellites. They will expand OneWeb's constellation to just over 500, nearly 80% of the planned total of about 630 satellites. OneWeb satellites are built through a joint venture with France's Airbus at NASA's Kennedy Space Center. Lastly, Key West is putting a twist on a holiday classic. Wednesday night, Nutcracker Key West opened with a cast of 18 professional dancers and 80 local children and adults. The production offers a subtropical version of the tale. Dancers portrayed snowy egrets, quote, jewels from a 17th century Spanish galleon shipwrecked off Key West, the sea star mermaid, and a nutcracker whose conch shell headdress is symbolic of the Keys. Well, Ospreys, that's it for this on-location edition of the Sunshine segment. I'm Joshua Rigdon. I'll see you next time. Hello, Ospreys. I'm Joshua W. Rigdon, and for the last 15 or so weeks, I've been here to give you the Inside Scoop on Inside Swoop. However, with the end of the semester looming, this will be my final show, and my final week as an Osprey student. Yes, you heard me right. Not only is this my last Swoop Scoop, but I will also be graduating at the end of the semester. So let's take some time to reminisce and talk about this internship. Before we reminisce, let's talk about the internship. If you are majoring in communication, this internship should be at the top of your list on where to intern. You learn to write, edit, and anchor. All valuable skills that you will use when you enter the workforce. I've made lifelong friends with the people I interned with, even if we pick at each other's favorite sports teams, and for that, I am forever thankful. This internship wholeheartedly prepares you for the workforce, which is all anyone can ask for in an internship. Now, with us being on camera, there have been some funny things that have happened, like when you can't pronounce a word. Lori, a former member of the National... There were also some really cool things we did, like when we reported on location for the Jacksonville Jaguar game. Thanks, Tony. So, another disappointing loss for the Jaguars. This loss brings their 5-game losing streak to the Las Vegas Raiders 27-20. And I have also been known to sing a tune or two. Hey, look, I made it. Hey, look, I made it. Everything's coming up. Aces, aces. The dream don't make me, don't wake me. Said, hey, look, I made it, made it. Now, none of this would have been possible without our advisor, Ken Thomas. Professor Thomas is one of the best professors I have had over the 5 years I spent earning an associate and now my bachelor degree. The knowledge he has to pass on through this internship is worth so very much, and every student should take advantage of the knowledge he has. I know things I have learned from him will be extremely useful when I find myself anchoring at a news station. Well, Ospreys, that's all the time we have for now, and the next time you see me might be as a professional anchor. I want to sincerely thank you for watching me each and every week, and for the last time, I'm Joshua W. Rigdon, and I hope you have a wonderful day.